Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am the Motorcycle Rescuer and this is Motorcycle Rescuer. So yes, welcome back. I've got a lot of inboxes about this bike in regards to this conversion, and that kind of confirms to me that these EFI systems are junk, and they are junk. The problem is, or how do you say this without being extremely rude or critical? The problem is the cheaper Chinese parts. They just about got a carb to do what a carb needed to do. I mean, 15 years ago, it didn't. They were untunable, unusable. They barely trickled along, and then they kind of realised that we want bikes to work. And then just as they've got the carbs okay, good actually, good. They've started switching to electrics. The electric EFI system for this, not only are they known for stopping, their computer systems just can't manage the basics of what they need to do. They really absolutely trickle the bike along. These bikes are known for barely doing 50 miles per hour, that is. And that, I'm sorry, but that would wind me up. You might as well get a good 50cc and de-restrict it. So this carb conversion is popular, it is working, it is fine. We did have a smallish issue last week, and that was something in the carb. Now, someone suggested that it could be this fuel line that gummed in the carb. So I'm going to do a little test today. I'm going to put some fuel in a little pot, and I'm going to dump that in and leave it in, and we'll see if it gums up at all. You absolutely could be right there. I've bought some brand new E10 compliant. It says it's all ethanol compliant actually, fuel line. I think it's worth it now. We need this bike to run for as long as we can. Let's be honest, people are going to put in E10. The rest of it is E10 compliant, E10 fuel line. Makes sense. The other thing I've got over there, you'll see, is a new tank. Very similar to the old one. Possibly a touch smaller, but nothing to worry about at all on this bike. Honestly, 55 quid saves all the crap and hassle of this one. There's no dents in this one. I may even give this one to Nat next time he pops down, or I'll take it up to him, because I know he can just gloss black this, and it has all the fueling and everything on it, and even the fuel sensors in it and all of that. So he could maybe paint it and throw it on his shelf for if he ever gets a similar bike in. So I'm not gonna junk that one yet. I'm going to store it just in case. But that's kind of today's video. Today's video for me is going to be, I need to figure out why the main lights aren't on. My guess is we've just pulled a wire. And by we, I mean John or someone. I never mess up. Because I think I've seen this light on, and it's highly unlikely that the bulbs have gone from both, but I will of course have a look. So I want all the lighting to be on. I basically want this MOT compliant by the end of today, with that tank on, with E10 appropriate fuel line, ready to just be a bike from now on. The reason I bought this tank is because if I bought this tank, which was 90 quid, so not much more, it comes with, in fact it doesn't come with, I'd have to transfer the fuel stuff across from there, and it would still have the fat end that goes down to the thin end, all that crap, and no tap in between. That one comes with its own tap, on and off, maybe even prime, I'm not sure, but at least on and off, and it's fin to fin. It saves all that hassle, so I stand by that. That's for an EFI, that's for a compressed system with a pump inside, which is broken. I broke it. No, it broke itself, and then I junked it. That just free flow, it works. So yes, I'm currently happy. Let me kind of get some bits off the tank mainly, and then we'll look at any connectors or anything that's been pulled, and we'll get into the front light and see if we can work out what's going on there. So the indicators work, and the high beam on pass works, but of course it doesn't light up unless it's running, which I can't do until I put the tank on. So I kind of need to check all this wiring while I'm here, because it's going to be frustrating if I put the tank on and then have an issue. Check all the wiring while I'm here, and then kind of seat the tank. I might need to do the tank first, basically. So I need to be sure that this is good. Does it even have a horn? Wow, it has a loud horn. Okay, so I want to have a good look at this one. Now this wiring is a little bit, you know, iffy. I think this is an aftermarket light. I think they've done it well enough, but it's aftermarket. So we've only got these 3 wires here. We can test the light by taking them off and putting them to a battery. That's no issue at all. But there's a lot of other wiring stuff that just bothers me a little. We've got, for example, here it is. That's a black wire, possibly an earth, possibly unused because we've already got no, actually the earth's green, so that will be a power wire. So not sure about that, because we have no brake lights currently either. And then we've got this one here, which really bothers me. Look, it's a 4-pin. Now these bikes did come with kind of diagnostic ports and automatic ports for alarms and stuff, so that could be quite normal. We've got this little double here. Now all of the regulator stuff is good, and that's on, that's normal, that's fine. No concerns there, and these don't cross over. This one bugs me a little bit. I'm going to have a bit of a look around just in case I'm missing something. But in fact, somebody's made this from these two, and they go to where? I need a little look at that. I don't think they're the issues we're facing though. I think they're, I mean, I feel like if it's running, that the front light might be okay now. I don't know why I thought it wasn't. So I kind of need to go to getting fuel back in there. So I think I need to seat the tank at this stage. And it's not the end of the world, because all of this is back here, so the tank will be there. I'll seat it. I have to work out how to bolt it down, because I've got a double. Although it might, well, I'll work all that out. That's not an issue. You can always drill through and put a bolt down like last time if needed. Okay, let me seat the tank and at least see how it looks. So that's what it's going to look like overall, guys. What I'll do is I'll pull up the rear a little. I'll bumper it up just to give it a little bit more of a flat look, and but that will be perfectly fine. I was a bit worried, but it will be. I know it looks a bit funny at the moment, but I'll boost it. I had to move the CDI from under the tank to down there, so it's kind of tucked in above the airbox. That's fine. And I haven't connected the tap or anything. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to do that, and I'm probably going to full time the tank, because again, I can't check on the lighting unless it's running. So I need it to be ready to run, basically, and that's going to involve getting some fuel as well. I am doing my little fuel test up here. I've got my fuel line fully submerged in the E10. It's only been there 10 minutes. I'll leave it there most of the day unless I'm using that tank, and we'll see how we go from there. I've got a bit of a plan at the moment. I want to try and kind of trade up, get rid of things to around £2,000 pricing. And I tell you why. It's because I might buy the Vespa off Aidan. I took it out last Saturday. I re-insured my Harley last week, and it gave me insurance to ride other people's bikes as long as they're insured. So I took Gary's bike out, I took the Bandit out. Really enjoyed it, but it's a different experience. It's power versus torque, and I'm afraid I've converted to torque because I live in central London and I want to get away from the lights quick, and I want to be able to pull my arms off on a short distance. That's the difference between power and torque. And then I took the Vespa out and I loved it, and it was that nostalgia feeling, that old Galera 180 SP 2-stroke feeling that I used to, you know, I bought them when they were brand new, and I remember booting a guy on his new R6 once, and when he caught me at the next lights, he was shocked. He was shocked. And actually the Vespa gave me that same feeling, and it's a really cool feeling. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's advertised. If someone's going to come and pay for it, they're taking it. but it's a hard bike to sell at the moment, generally anyway, because people don't trust them. And I love it. So I'm gonna see if I can trade up to £2 and buy the Vespa, and then what I'll do is I'll use it for the summer, and then I'll consider what happens next from there. Aiden's on holiday at the moment, but generally he generally doesn't mind. That's a very, very easy going Aiden. But I am not going to ruin the adverts, I promise. I'm going to redo the adverts tonight and get them back up there. Right, let's get this, let's get the taps on, let's get the line on, let's get it kind of in its final position, and we'll look at what's next. Alright guys, so the tank's on and actually seated. I built a bracket using an old bracket there. And so what was I looking at here? This is what I'm looking at. These are the new fuel hoses from Halfords. One's 6mm, that will be inner diameter, one's 8. But it says here, suitable for leaded, unleaded, ethanol and diesel. If that's saying ethanol, that will be pure ethanol. These will last for a very long time then, if they're ethanol proof. Because we're only 10% ethanol at the moment. So that's all good. So I'm going to put a slit on. Lucky enough, this tank has a reserve, so it's got normal thing in reserve. This tank, guys, was 44 quid. If you've got an oldish lexmoto or anything and you're a bit worried, or you need a new tank, 44 quid, you get a new tap and everything. I only need the line to go from there to there. That's quick. And then of course we'll put on some clips. And as long as this carb isn't gummed up now, because of the whatever crap that was in there, it shouldn't be. But as long as it's not, we should be back to normal in a little while, once I've gone down and got some fresh fuel and topped it up. So that's all good at the moment. That's great. So I'll get all that done in a moment. I'm going to put the fuel line on. I'm going to try the 6. In fact, it is the 6. I want it to be quite a squeeze. So yeah, the 6. And I'll walk down and grab some fuel. I want to get some cloths, because these, remember, paper thin, wafer thin, really, really thin paint. So I'm going to clean it and put on a bit of wax after to give it a bit of protection. And I'll do the same with all the other stuff. Remember, the actual problem today was the headlights, or the lighting system. So we've not quite worked out that yet, because we had to have an engine running to see it. So let me get that bit of fuel line on, and we'll see. I'll go and get some fuel and we'll work everything else out from there. Okay guys, so tank is seated and bolted, but when I filled it up with fuel, it came gushing straight back out. It hadn't sealed properly, so I just took it off and re-sealed it and checked it, and it's fine now. I've got Rab Jab over here looking at this Phi Click, Peugeot Phi Click 50cc. Now it needs a spark plug, but I did pick up what I think is the right spark plug today. And it didn't have a coil, but Rab Jab found the coil, so that's great news. And it has an airbox, but it will probably need a carb clean, which it's so easy to get to right now. It's highly unlikely that we start this, but while Rab Jab's bored, one of the things I like when people come down to this garage is when they pick up a tool. You know, there's junk in the corner, pick up a tool, practice a carb clean, start stripping things down. I like that, and if anyone wants to do that, you're always welcome. I'm in Islington in London. There's no facilities here for teas and coffees, but you can go to the local shop. So what we need to do is get the front panel off. We technically need to kind of hot wire this bike, but we won't show you how to do that, but we are doing that. We'll check things like, is there fuel in the tank, maybe clean the carb, maybe run a separate tank, and we'll see if this thing ever fires up. If it does, it needs a new lock set all round, it needs a number plate. Oh no, is that a plate?
Yeah, it's got a number plate there.
Everything's in here. Yeah, I can see it there. Okay, and I have a logbook for this one, so...
That's all panels, everything in here.
Lovely, probably needs an MOT. I'm going to put some more fuel in this, fire it up in a minute, and then we'll have to look at the whole the lighting system, see what's going on. I know that it wasn't coming on, but the high beam comes on, so it could be a bulb. But then it's unlikely that the rear one is also a bulb, so it's more likely a wire. But let's get it fired up first. So we're still dripping a little bit of fuel. I'm just running out what I've put in there. I think I've got to pop this carb off, give it a clean, and start again with that. It's much easier because the tank has an off switch. I'm literally just running the fuel through now, but it's not as happy as it was before, which is why it will need a clean. Whatever went through it needs to come out now. It's fine, it's just well, it's going to be running out of fuel now, but yeah, it just needs to be whatever that sludge crap was, we need to get it out, give it all a clean, that's all. Alright guys, so out of curiosity, let's just pop this open, we'll give it a bit of a clean, we'll see what's going on, see if there's any, oh, there's a little pipe up there, I assume it's the overflow pipe, it must be. See if there's any reddish material or browny or whatever it was. I think gunk in the old tank maybe, don't get me wrong, it's not got any fuel or anything in there, but something's not right. I'm going to pop this off, have a little look, give it a little clean out. If I had the jettings, I would upjet it a touch if I had the jettings, but I'm not sure I do. So, the idle jet is a 35. I think I'm going to throw in a 38. I've got a 38. Main jet is a 92. That's quite a big jet. These jettings are quite big already. 35 and 92 are quite big jets to start with for these little 125s. I'm going to try and find the 100 main. I'm going to put in a 38 idle. No, for no real reason except I feel like the slightly bigger jetting manages the fuel better. It might be that the carb can't manage that. But I am going to try it. I do need to find a 100 jet though. I had a little pack somewhere, so I need to find that. And yeah, it might be that I'm popping this carb off again soon. But I think the slightly higher jetting will be better. So I'm going to go up roughly 8 on the main, and I'm going up 3 on the idle. I'm going to give this all a clean out while I'm waiting anyway, and see what's going on. In regards to the float overflow, I think if it flows up the carb, it comes out here. So I'll check the float height as well to make sure it's cutting off at the right time. So quick clean out, upjet for a bit more power, chuck it on and see how lucky we are with it. It's quite a tight carb to get on this one, so it's a bit of a pain, but it's also not the end of the world. So you probably can't see the numbers, but that's a tuned upjetted carb at the moment. We've upjetted the idle, we've upjetted the main. We should technically put more air in, but they're quite high flow already, so because they're trying to lean out the mixture for emissions, which isn't NOx necessarily when it comes in, so they are looking for lean, although in the UK it's NOx, so they would have been better off doing the opposite. So yeah, they're quite high flow filters, although if it needed more air, then we could put a cone on, or we could drill some holes in the airbox. We've got options there. So I'm gonna chuck this back on, see if we can get it sealed. It's not ideal that it seemed to spill. My hope is that the gasket was a bit loose and that it's all good now, because I'm not sure if it was coming out the top. Don't really know what was going on there. Where did it appear to be coming out of? Don't know. Right, let's get this back on. Okay, so it's all nipped up, although it probably shouldn't have been. Let's just get some flow going and see what happens. The carb has to be able to manage the fuel flow, which they should be able to do anyway. But it didn't appear like it was earlier. It looks like it might be now. Give it a minute to fill up though. We were seeing flow, I think it was out of the seal, but I have reseated it. We're looking alright at the moment. Let's see if we fire up. Earlier the button wasn't working, so I had to bridge the solenoid, but all that stuff. Let's get you set up at a better angle. It's a lot of mechanical gremlins at the moment. The button wasn't working, but still not. A bit Wow, that sounds so much better with that upjetting. So much better actually, guys. That's choke off, which means it didn't need it as well, which is a good sign. What's next for this bike then? Technically, oh yeah, look, lights should be on, but it's not. Let me see if there's a high beam. No, there's no high beam, but the pass works, doesn't it? And that weird, look, what's on the back? Let me see if we've got any brake lights. Oh, rear brake light. Got brake lights. Got brake lights. Okay, we've got brake lights, and then we've got high beam on the switch. That worries me because that means the high beam works on the pass switch. Although that also makes me think it's a wiring issue. Let me pop the front off and make sure if there's no obvious issues. Very happy with the sound of the engine. I think this thing's going to be pretty quick.